Welcome back, folks, to Shivers. Knocking on wood, it has been a while since I've done this. We are now 40% done with the game, and yes, I do apologize. Health issues has prevented me from recording more episodes of practically everything. And I do mean practically everything. You have no idea how difficult it was that my difficulty gets out. My health had to decline again. Some people I have to forget. Some people are either very patient, or some people are just like, don't think I exist anymore. Which is a real shame as well, because all I just do is just do stuff. Anyway, the Ixupi are evil, and we need to prevent that from happening. But the main progress last episode was that we found one of the pieces of the Ixupi, which is of course the head of the crystal Ixupi, inside the loom puzzle, which is a bit devious because that was the last major problem. But that's only because we found the base of the wood Ixupi here and all that stuff. But we get to assemble another difficult puzzle. Thankfully, this is the last major difficult puzzle of the game. Yes. As you may have noticed, there have been some real difficult puzzles, and I will state this though. And if you thought the puzzle where the Chinese checkers won, well, the Chinese puzzle was a bit devious, and believe me, a lot of people were forced to Google the actual solution of the answer. Well, not really, but you get the basic idea. What you need to do is to assemble. There is a mark inside one of I believe the Egyptian book. We need to use that to open up the way, but to do so, it's a bit of a pain in the ass. Do not be surprised if I had to reference the actual picture of the puzzle in order for it to be solved. Don't look at me like that. It is that difficult. Believe me, my brain had to be energetic. And considering the very few times I had to go through the game in order to do this, this was not my first choice, might I as well. This was probably one of my... As like I said, in Shivers, this is the epitome of a randomizer. You can pretty much... You could have the start decided and the end decided, but everything else between is randomized. So you have no idea what to expect. Yeah, that does sound right. I mean, we're looking at this right now. I'm looking at the bottom left, and I think the bottom left's fine. I can't think of anything else that goes with it. Like I said, it's just this entire episode is quite literally just, well, solving the picture puzzle. And if you don't like that, well, you can just click off the video. I don't mind, but you're going to be here for the long haul anyway. Essentially, we have the head of the crystal. Or was it the cloth? Pretty sure it's crystal or cloth. I think it's cloth, let's be honest. Yeah, I think that's cloth. Which probably means that we're going to be getting close to now starting to, getting close to getting more of those Ixupis out of the way. Believe me, that we will be getting more of those Ixupis out of the way. As soon as I try and figure out which is which. I believe that is the right indication. Yes, that does look better. I mean, it's just, it would be a lot easier if I could just figure out which bits go which. That's the problem with Sierra puzzles in the 90s. The problem with Sierra puzzles is that they expect you to get things done, like, immediately and all that stuff. Not immersive, like. Sierra puzzles are very infamous in the 90s. Difficult. But there's also another aspect of Sierra puzzles that they are infamous for. Endings. Trust me, you'll see this in about a few episodes, because I have a feeling we're not going to be that far off from getting to the actual ending. We're nearly halfway through the game at this point. So what I'm trying to figure out is... Am I getting this? Am I doing this correctly? Am I figuring out the puzzle properly and all that stuff? Well, maybe, but it's better than just having... It's just better than just having nothing. Oh, believe me, if I'm distracting for you, I do apologize. If I am distracting, I do apologize. I just not been fantastically well for the best while. That's what happens when you have problems to begin with for the last few years. It gets worse over the last few months, and then you forget to record. And then because all your issues and all your energy levels are a bit fatigued and all that stuff, well, you get the basic idea. You get this. That is just like, you know. It just feels a bit weird. It just feels weird. I've not done this for a while. Anyway, I do believe we're getting there in terms of puzzle pieces. Yeah, I got the top bit figured out. Or have I? Yeah, that's again, like I said, problem with 90s. There we go. I think that's the piece that goes there. So what does the next bit? Yeah, that's the next bit. I reckon we can get. I reckon we're at least getting somewhere. You know, here's the thing with jigsaw puzzles. I don't mind jigsaw puzzles. The thing is, though, it's a bit of a pain in the ass. A simple jigsaw puzzle to figure out would be to have, figure out what the corner pieces are and then just work from there. It's an easy way to figure out some jigsaw puzzles, but not all jigsaw puzzles happen to work like this. No, all jigsaw puzzles just tend to be a bit different. There we go. There we go. Now we're starting to figure things out. Now, as the very few shapes remain, like I said, the very few shapes remain. There are some that I can now easily spot. That are definitely part of it, but I don't want to rush it because it's a pain. It's a pain if you cut. Even if you decide to get things straight, you can't can't get it all correct. There we go. Now we're starting. Okay, now it's starting to get some bits. There's at least some pieces that we can figure out. Yeah, that's one side of the puzzle complete. There we go. There's quite a few puzzles. Yeah, I can see the next bit. There we go. That's another piece done, which means that bit's ready. And then we have this final piece here, and then that bit. And Bob's your uncle. We can now open the door and move on to the next bit of the room. Believe me, we have another exhibit coming up. And now that we are effectively in the next part of the museum, this is where we end. See you all next time, folks, and thank you very much for enduring, 8 minutes of this. See you all next time, folks. Bye for now.